One of the strangest towns in the US, rivaled only by Conetown over in the Sierras, is Skyrock Town. Located in southern Nevada on the fringes of the Mojave Desert, all sorts of weird things have been happening here. From a mysterious observatory floating high above the pillars from which the town gets its name, to the alien changes coming over the nearby desert. Recently, however, it seems that a new contender has entered the ring for weirdest thing in Skyrock Town. An enormous robotic bug. Investigations have shown that this thing is actually an independent rogue nation, known only as the Spanwalker, which originates from somewhere around the Amazon rainforest. There have been reports of a monstrosity traveling north through Mexico and raiding from local settlements as it goes, but most of these have, until now, been treated as hysteria. Now that it's clear that this thing is a real threat, the CIA and similar agencies have been working to find out more about it, and how it compares to locals. Here's what has been revealed so far. One thing that has been uncovered is the fact that the Spanwalker's government resembles some form of communist theocracy. While here in the US we have a constitutional federal republic, which means that we elect most of our officials, all of whom are governed themselves by the Constitution, the Spanwalker is mostly built around following a mystical figure called God Emperor Mammon. All orders supposedly come from this person, who the citizens treat as the source of all light. These orders often include conducting raids on nearby settlements, from which supplies are obtained and distributed among the people based on the God King's whims. There's not even the semblance of democracy the US has. Unlike the United States, standing is not determined by wealth, but how trusted each citizen is, for which they can be rewarded with things such as extra privileges and rations. This brings up another major difference between the Spanwalker and the US: distribution of government funds. The United States splits its budget into various things. Around 20% each goes into healthcare and social security, while around 13% goes into defense, meaning there is a healthy balance between aid and military spending. However, in the Spanwalker, defense spending is much higher, likely due to the violent nature of its existence. Over 50% of its supplies go towards maintaining artillery and aircraft, researching new weaponry, and providing extra benefits for military personnel. Everything else goes to operation and citizens, but the military is the first priority, and they get the best pick. Really, the Spanwalker is just one walking pile of weapons, so this enormous amount of spending is no surprise. But that's enough of the broad strokes. What is it actually like to be someone who lives in the Spanwalker? Well, one thing's for sure, you'd always be meeting new people. For whatever reason, birth and fertility rates on the Spanwalker are around 1/4 that of the US, so they have to capture new people from the locations they conduct raids on, something which seems to be happening in Skyrock Town. These people are then indoctrinated into Mammonism, making them loyal to the Spanwalker. Speaking of religion, Spanwalker citizens have no religious freedom, or really any of the freedoms that we're used to here. To contrast, Skyrock Town is able to have whatever religions people want, such as with the group which worships a being who they claim inhabits the floating observatory, who they have dubbed the Observer. In a similar vein, people are not allowed to speak their mind and have discourse in the Spanwalker, while Skyrock Townies can say whatever they want, no matter how strange the rest of us think they are. Essentially, Spanwalker citizens do not get to experience the philosophical idea of natural rights that people just miles away get to experience. Nor do they get to do anything to change their situation, thanks to a lack of petitioning or even free press. Really, most of those in the Spanwalker have hardly any stimulation at all. They can only really interact with a limited number of people, and that gets mind-numbing after a while. Soldiers, at least, get card games, music, and whatever else of value as entertainment winds up in the Spanwalker's cargo hold. There are even a few books available for those who live in the upper levels. In fact, there seem to be a small handful of books from the outside world that get secretly distributed throughout the city, so perhaps those outside ideas are slowly changing how the people think. Still, everything in the Spanwalker is a far cry from the amenities available in Skyrock Town. From casinos to the Alien Museum to an entire carnival, one might actually find themselves being overstimulated in this flashy town. One of the principal reasons for lack of mental stimulation in the Spanwalker is the fact that there are simply no privately owned businesses. Everything is solely made to suit a purpose which benefits Mammon, whether it is something as simple as feeding people, or as deep as providing a sense of awe and power to keep the lower levels in line. If anyone were to make their own business, it would defeat the idea that Mammon provides for all. The beauty of Skyrock, and the beauty of the United States as a whole, is that anyone can make their own choice as to what to do to provide something to the community. As a result, there is a diverse range of privately owned businesses which keep Skyrock Town happy and healthy. Now, there is one way, which the CIA has chosen to ignore, in which the US and the Spanwalker are the same, and it is that you can rarely fully trust the government. One might often look at the secrets hidden in the depths of the Spanwalker in bulk. There's the fact that most of its citizens don't know where the supplies come from, but there are also many things likely hidden down in the depths, where only the most trusted engineers and commanders may go. A superweapon? A disturbing truth to the Spanwalker's power source? Whatever it is, it can't be good. But the same could be said about the US government's activities in Skyrock Town. No one really knows what's going on down in the depths of the science facility, but the fact that strange occurrences in the town have increased since the government became involved cannot be a coincidence. In the past, there have been all sorts of horrible things this country has done, so we have to be vigilant for when it seems they are threatening to break morality. At least we have the luxury to call them out, unlike those in the Spanwalker. But anyway, that seems to be all we've got so far. The government is using this information to draw up plans of subterfuge, since normal attacks don't seem to work on the Spanwalker, such as inciting uprisings from within. All residents of Skyrock Town have been advised to evacuate the area immediately. In the meantime, we'll be sure to keep you updated on new events related to this situation. Thank you, and have a good whatever time of day it is for you.